Yeah, warmly welcome to the first ever Rust Dortmund interview. We had this very spontaneous idea. With me is Florian Lenz. He had a talk about serverless, and today that is all about knowledge sharing. And what I liked a lot about your talk was the quote, serverless first, but not serverless only. So I think, what do you think is the most value from this talk, from this mindset, I think you called it?
Yeah, I think the most valuable is that with serverless you can focus on bringing value to your customer as a software developer. And yeah, I think I showed it in the talk as well that there are a lot of tasks you do as a software developer which are not really bringing value to your customer. For example, when you manage a server, when you do patches on your server, etc. These are things you need to do for sure, and it's important. But at the end, the question is this something a software developer should do, or can you pay, for example, Azure or AWS, so that they do this job for you, and your software developers can do the important things like create new functionalities, create new a better system, new features, etc. And I guess this is what serverless is about, and why you should start serverless first, because you can totally focus on these things.
Yeah. And when I think about that, the term time to market comes to mind. So it's all about having a very fast time to market, but also I think you said in your talk being able to adapt. Maybe you can elaborate on this.
Yeah, sure. I had the example of Coca Cola, as you know, and Coca Cola started with a new project, and after 1 week they finalized the first MVP. And this is exactly what you said. It's like the time to market is quite slow, and you can get customer feedback, you can get valuable feedback, and this in combination with serverless as a pay-as-you-go model is really helpful, because you do not care about all this infrastructure stuff. You can really focus on your solution, on what features you want to have. And for example, when this example of Coca Cola started and they thought, okay, we start with this pay-as-you-go, we start with serverless, then you can as well re-architecture after a while when you figure out, for example, we pay too much because we have too much requests. This is not flexible enough for us anymore. We want, for example, containers. Then with a great architecture, with a great software architecture, you can change it quite easy. Like AWS did it, for example, with Amazon Prime. So in this example, you can adopt your serverless functionalities quite easy to a, I would say, normal functionality. And this is what I think, this quote what you said, serverless first, and have in mind that you can change it later on, and then it's not serverless only.
Yeah. And when you're kind of a manager and a tech manager, you really reduce your uncertainties that way, right? Because the uncertainty, how much load do I need? You don't have to hire people who do infrastructure, or let your software developers do it, because some of them hate it. And so I liked that a lot about the talk, but maybe to not be all technical, let's switch a bit to more personal. So you realize I'm a more technical guy, so I start with a technical question. But what I think is very cool is that you, I love to share your knowledge, and you do have a podcast, and I think your YouTube channel, and you talk also on conferences. Do you want to tell us a bit about that journey? How did you start it, and how is it going? Do you love it? Do you hate the travel already? I mean, it was quite a drive here, right?
Great question. I love to not only talk about technical stuff, so it's quite good, It started, I would say, 2-3 years ago. I think as well, like you, I'm a freelancer, or at least I'm my own boss. So it's quite good that someone knows you, and someone could be anyone in Germany, to be honest. And for me, it was like, okay, how can I do marketing, but not on a basis like I pay Google to do some AdSense stuff. So for me, it was like, how can I get in touch with people, get to know new people, and for me it was like, okay, share your knowledge. And yeah, I think in December 2023, so this year, 2 years ago, I had the first talk at the IT Tage in Frankfurt, and this was so the very first talk. And then I realized, okay, I can do more. There are a lot of conferences. You can call for a speaker, so you can apply for a call for speaker, and maybe you get the slot, and then you can make a talk. And then I realized as well, okay, maybe I can do an own meetup. So I have the Azure Cloud Native meetup in Cologne. And for me, it was like, okay, when everything I do on a conference, I can do it in a smaller environment as well for myself. So why not do it every month, for example, in Cologne with people from Cologne, and get to know people who like more or less the same like you do. And at the beginning, the first 10 to 12 talks, most of the time I made a talk, because when you have only 10 people going to your meetup or only are registered, no one from Munich would say, for sure I came and talked in front of 7 people or something. So you need to grow first, and then when you are bigger, and I think today we have 250 people in meetup, which is quite good, and now you have you're big enough that people from Munich say, hey, can I make a talk on your meetup? And now I learn a lot that this is the very first good start, to just start, do it by yourself. And any time when someone asks me like, hey, why do you do it? What's the purpose? I was like, to be honest, when I only have it from my own side, when I just look at myself, what is in for me, was always like, I have 2 months later a conference, and this is a talk. So why not prepare it? Make a very first try on this meetup. Check where are the laughers which are working. Where are some information where I say this is a great direction, or is it maybe a wrong direction? And so it was for me like a learning to say, okay, this is really let's call it a first try. And then I can prepare based on this result. And so I learned from every meetup. Every meetup was better and better. And now conferences are quite good. And I don't know how you like it, but I thought it was a quite good talk today, and I feel quite good. And this is why I do it, because it feels great to share knowledge. It's great to get in touch with people. I learned a lot of new people here. It's quite nice. And this year, I think 20 conferences and meetups in combination I will meet in total. So now the next 2 months, every month are 2 conferences again, and it's a lot to do, but I really like it. And what's quite nice, there is as well one conference in Utrecht, so in Netherlands, and one in Trondheim in Norway. So it's quite nice to be around all over Europe. And so for me it was like, learn a lot about Europe and travel to all the cities by do what you love, by do conference talks. So I love it, but for sure, like today, it's a quite long trip, a long driveway, but this is worth it.
Happy to hear that it worth it. Like, for me, the story is quite similar. I started freelancing in 2023 and visit conferences because of that, or because I also like to have this knowledge sharing and connect with people. And then after some time I was thinking, okay, why don't we have like this energy in Dortmund, like this Rust community energy, like very passionate technical people? And I'm very happy that we have those here, and I'm also very happy that we're like in the Digitale Woche Dortmund, which is like a special week in Dortmund. We are here with I think over 100 events in Dortmund happening, and so we could go a bit out from the technical scope and go for the more business-oriented use cases. And so what I also want you to ask, following up on what you said with like giving a trial at a meetup, is like how, like we had this discussion, Kira and myself, about maybe not a discussion but just exchange about like how you can use a meetup to get new people to talk in front of an audience. And I feel because we moved a bit from meetup in the direction of conference from the technical level. I'm sorry for fucking this presenter up again. It's the second time, by the way, I bought a new presenter, and obviously it was not the presenter, but the notebook, because on my notebook the new presenter worked. So my question is like, do you have any tips how to encourage people to give a talk?
For me, it was like I think a lot of people don't do talks because of this imposter syndrome, imposter effect. So I think a lot of people think, oh, I don't have anything to say because there are so many people which have so many knowledge. Why should I do a talk? And for me, there are two things. First, when you do it in an area of a meetup, for example, no one cares, to be honest. So it's just like everyone who joins is there only for you. It's not like a big conference with 100 of talks, and at the end they say, okay, now in this slot there is just this talk. I give it a try. So it's basically when you do it for a meetup, it's like when there's only one person, for example, so one talk, everyone is coming for you. So, and they don't care if you say I'm an expert or I'm a beginner. I just had this, for example, this use case in my company. I want to share with you. So, and for me, this is totally fine. And as well with this imposter syndrome, for me, it's like I never claimed that I'm the expert. And when I say this is the right way, or with serverless now, I didn't say this is right. And what I said, this is the only truth. For me, it's always like when someone came to me and say, hey, it was quite nice, but on this little stuff, there was a problem. Maybe you didn't get it right. So maybe you need to change it. And then we have a discussion and we think about, and then I get information. Oh shit, you're right. This is why I think bring knowledge to everyone is so a great or important way, because only then you get the information and you find yourself and you can reiterate yourself if the things you think which are right is really right, or if there is someone and give you some information like, yeah, maybe you can change it and here and there it's a better way. And I think with this information, this is a quite good start. Just don't think someone thinks you do not need to be the best. And I never got blamed because I were on stage. So, yeah.
So that encouraged me now to share something. When I started, I was also investigating the serverless use case, but I also wanted to focus on Rust. And for serverless, I think in your talk you did this nice cost reduction argument, like you can just shift your architecture away from serverless, and cost reduction was back then one of my arguments to try to sell Rust for serverless in AWS. But it's actually quite hard to find the right customer, because you need to find a customer that has like cost reduction as a business case. And I talked to people that had like a big AWS consultancy, and they were like, yeah, we have quite big projects, but that's not worth like doing stuff in Rust because it's not too expensive for even bigger use cases.
I just had a discussion and it was basically more or less the same. At the end, I never worked for a customer and he said, yeah, I don't care if this architecture, when you can do it for example, 10,000 or 5,000, I don't care the price. It's always a requirement, make it as cheap as possible. So basically, it's always like, please make it cheap. So serverless, I don't know if I need it at the end. Hopefully it's cheap enough. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think in this special case, you have with Rust the challenge that you introduce new tech stacks. So if they would have Rust developers, it's easier to start this kind of projects. Maybe as like a last kind of question, because we always try to do new things, and I have quite a very creative team that needs more ideas. I'm really happy to get like some feedback or some tips for future meetups. What worked well in your case? What would you give us as tip or something like that? That would be great.
The presenter? No. Yeah, no. To be honest, it's quite good. So for me, when I started, we didn't have any food, and I think having food is always a good idea. And the pizza was great, so perfect. The only feedback I can give you, it's great. So I like the area here. It's quite open. It's great people. I don't have any bad feedback, only positive. So yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.